Well, hello, and welcome to Empowering Voices. Here in this podcast, we're bringing you unique stories of authors, entrepreneurs, and changemakers. I'm your host, Melissa Guccione. I'm an author, a client, and an official associate with Book Writing Venture. And today I am thrilled to introduce our first guest, Mathana Senthilnathan. And I said that wrong. Let's say it again. Would you say it for me, Mathana?
Senthilnathan.
One more
Mathana
time.
Senthilnathan.
Senthilnathan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a beautiful, beautiful name. You are an author of an inspiring book called The Daughter of the King, a project that Book Writing Venture has had the privilege of guiding you from editing to cover design and publication all the way through. I'd also like to mention that you're not only an author, but you are also a proud associate of Book Writing Venture. So, Mathana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And I'm happy and fortunate to be a part of this team.
All right. Well, I'd like to go ahead and just jump right in and let's talk about your book, The Daughter of the King. Can you share with us what inspired you to write this book?
So the reason it's always been in my heart to share my story of how I came to know Christ. And so during COVID, because everyone was forced to work from home, I had a lot of time on my hands because normally I commute back and forth, and that takes a lot of time. And so those hours were spared, and I was now home with extra hours on my hands. And I said to myself, something stirred in my heart and said, why not use this extra time to start writing your book? And so I did. So I started writing, and I prayed about what I should write about. And the Lord just led me to write the book from my heart. And each chapter flowed so easily for me because it was, I guess it was led by the Holy Spirit, I would say. And I didn't have difficulty writing it, but of course, I needed someone to proofread and make sure that my sentences are flowing well, not making any grammar mistakes, and if my content is making sense to a reader. Because when you write it, sometimes you feel like it's, everything you wanted to say, and it makes sense to you, but you're not sure if the reader will understand exactly what you were meant to say. So that's where, after I finished writing, I wanted to reach out to an organization that would help me, and Book Writing Venture was one of them. And I reached out, and I had a good first consultation, and we started off there. So it was a great, great experience, and I'm happy that they were part of my dream to write this book. And once it was completed, it was surreal. I couldn't believe that I had
I
written a
can
book.
imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, it's just my way of sharing with the world my experience of coming to know Christ and how today I live a life of peace, joy, and love, which is what everyone is craving for.
I
And so
agree.
I wanted to share that through my book to others and help encourage and motivate others to live a life for Christ.
Absolutely beautiful. And that leads us right into my next question for you is what is the core message or theme that you want readers to take away from your words?
My core message for me that stands out is that God is for you. He's not against you, but he's given us free will to choose him or not to choose him. And when you do choose him and when you really get to have a close relationship with him, your life becomes beautiful. And so if you're craving a life of peace, joy, and worry-free, you can sleep well at night, and all of those things that everyone's craving for, then let's get back to where our creator and what he wants and intends for our life. So that's my core message, is to get closer to your creator. And you will find that your life becomes much, much easier than you ever thought it would.
I believe that we can all be reminded of that every single day, maybe several
Yes.
times a day. That's a
Yes.
beautiful thing for your readers to be able to take with them. And was writing something you've always dreamed of, or was this something new to you?
So when I was actually very little, I loved to read books. And I used to have my own little journal where I would write down what I went through each day. And it was like my own little diary. So
Mm,
writing started early for me. And I remember when I first moved to North America and my grandparents were still in my country, Sri Lanka. And I would write letters to my grandfather,
mm,
telling him all about my experience in North America. And so he wrote back to me and he said, my goodness, you should write a book because you have explained every single detail and I feel like I'm there with you. So so that message that he gave me early on stayed with me. And that's when after I got to know Christ and started getting closer to Christ, I thought, my message to the world is about
mhm.
my journey, my journey to Christianity. And that's what I wanted to leave a legacy behind for my children as well. So, yeah, that's what led to writing that first book.
That makes sense. And what age was this when you had that interaction with your grandfather? What age was that?
I would say I was about 11 years old at that
Oh,
time.
wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's really a good age because you're really old enough. You're starting to know yourself just a little, right?
Yep.
And, obviously you've had some English writing lessons and everything. And so now here it is that you were inspired also by your grandfather to really open up your heart
That's
and
correct. Yeah.
start
Thankfully,
writing.
I was educated in English alone. So I
Oh,
didn't study in my language at all. My parents wanted me to go study English all along from the beginning. So
uh,
that helped me when we moved here a
I
great
think
deal.
so.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we all know, so most of us who are trying to write books or have attempted to get started, that writing a book is a very big undertaking. There's a lot more to it than you think when you first get started.
Mhm.
Can you walk us through your process on at least how you got started?
Well, like I said, I started writing what I thought was my first chapter.
Okay.
And first of all, I wanted to understand the layout of the book. I wanted to start off with a little bit about myself. And so I started talking first in the book about my childhood and my experiences that I had as a child. Um, and so after that, I believed I looked at each stage of my life and talked about that. And then to the point where I accepted Christ and to
Okay.
the point I am today. So that's where I started, but I started writing on just a Word document. That's where I started. And every time I got a chance, I would add a little bit of information. And then that's how the chapter started coming together, you know?
I love
Um,
that.
yeah,
Gave yourself sort of an topic or prompt and then let it flow from there.
exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so there's always challenges, of course, but does anything stick out in your mind as something particularly challenging during the course of writing?
Yeah, when I was writing, I wasn't sure what to include and what not to include in my stories,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of information in one person's life, and so what do you omit and what is more important to have in the book? So I had to sit down and kind of think about it a little bit more, because there was some sensitive information also in my
Mm,
life, and I
sure.
had to kind of protect others in my life. So there was, yeah, so that was the difficult part, trying to figure out what I should reveal and what I should keep to myself. Because we all
Fine
have
line.
some,
Fine line.
yes, exactly. There's boundaries.
Well, how was it that book writing venture supported you in both overcoming the challenges and then helping you continue with your writing? How did they help?
Well, they were wonderful because I initially had mentioned to them that this book is about my journey to
Mm,
spirituality. And so when I indicated that at the beginning, they made sure that my content stayed true to that. And so I think them understanding what my vision was very helpful to me in order to get that book completed the way I had envisioned it to be. So, yeah.
excellent. You don't have to say, I think that's pretty rare when you're able to explain something to someone and they get you. They
Yeah.
actually get it, you know, and so fantastic. Good support there. Every author has a moment when you like physically see your book for the very first time. It's printed, it's out there, you've got it in your hands. What did you feel when you held The Daughter of the King?
Oh my goodness. That was certainly a moment for the books because
Mm,
I had only dreamt of writing a book, but
oh,
when I actually had the product in my hand and I loved how the front cover turned out, that is exactly the way I envisioned it. And I made sure that when I was talking to the person I was dealing with, that that was my vision, and I wanted to see that come together. And they did an excellent job on the cover. So everyone to this day compliments me on the front cover, and they're loving what the simplicity of it, but as well as the message. It's so simple, but very deep. You know, it's a simple but deep message. Yeah,
absolutely. I know I've seen the cover too, and it is.
yeah,
It catches your attention. I like the use of the white space. It's very,
yes,
you know, it's very balanced and poignant. You know, very
yes,
good. Got that. Well, I understand, you know, well, we've talked about that you're not only an author, but you're also an official associate of Book Writing
yes.
Venture. That's correct, yes?
That's correct.
And
Yes.
so, how has your experience as an associate complemented your journey as an author?
The way it's complementing me is that it enables me to share my vision and my experience that I had with this process with others who are
Mhm.
also looking to kind of have this experience in their life. And just, it was, I'm telling you, like, how miraculous God works, because the day that I got reached out to be an associate and I heard about it is the day that one of my friends reached out to me and said, I'm writing a book. Can you tell me who you worked with?
Oh my
So
goodness.
talk about miracles. Like, it's not a coincidence. I know it's not a coincidence because the exact same day I was told about the associate part of this business, my friend reaches out to me and just says, I'm writing a book. Can you tell me more about how you went about and who did you work with? And I said, my gosh, talk about timing.
I know it.
Out of all this time,
Right?
I published my book in 2021 December. It's 2024
Oh
now.
my
Since then, I
goodness.
haven't had anyone ask about the process. But that day that, you know, David reached out to me
Yes.
and told me about the associate part. And I said, sure, I'd love to be. And then I get that email from my friend. And I was like, well, I guess I'm meant to be an associate.
That is that kind of alignment again, you know, I'm
Yes.
glad you saw it, you appreciated it, and you know, you just brought it into your heart and we're thankful for the connection,
Yes.
you know, that you had through God to make
Yeah,
these things happen in your life.
exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. I know it gives me a little bit of a chills, the good kind of chills.
Yes.
Well, what would you say? You said a little bit already, but let's see if we can add to it. What would you say to aspiring authors who are considering partnering with Book Writing Venture?
So I would definitely say you have nothing to worry about. You know, they're not going to scam you. I know there are a lot of, businesses out there saying that they'll do this and that for you and take your money, and then you're not happy with your result. I have to say, from start to end, I had no issues with them. They were lovely. They were cooperative. They responded on time. I had no issues, getting replies back. They were great. I would say definitely, I would highly recommend working with them because, again, I took a risk. I took a
Yes.
chance, trusting, but I prayed about it and I said, Lord, you're going to lead me to the right organization that's going to help me because this is going to glorify your name. And so, of course, God comes through when you say you're going to glorify his name.
I'll
He's
say.
going to make sure. He's going to make sure you're
Woo.
not scammed.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Honey,
yeah.
I know there's a lot of tricky stuff out there, and
Oh, yes.
just to further in your both commitment and confidence, then you became the associate with Book Writing Ventures. So that's another, so you went through the whole book process, the writing, publishing, and then decided to join the company as well. I think that says a
Yes.
lot.
Yes, it does. Now, I wouldn't easily join any organization if I don't trust them or if I
Hmm.
find that I wasn't happy with their services.
Yeah.
But I definitely was happy and they came through just the way I expected. And so I would love for anyone else who's also looking to become an
Yeah.
author, first time author, or, I don't know if they've written other books, but if you need any kind of assistance in your writing journey, then definitely this is an organization you can trust. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. How is becoming a published author? Isn't that nice to hear that,
I
right,
know.
Mathana? Published author. How has that
Yes.
changed you personally and then professionally?
Well, personally, I think it's given me more boldness
Mm,
to talk about my faith. Now that the book is out, I feel people have bought the book, they've read it, and they've said what a wonderful message it is, and they feel encouraged and motivated. So that has led me personally to feel. And after writing the book, I pursued becoming a life coach. And so now I am a certified life coach and I am coaching people to help them as well come out of many different struggles in their life, helping them to make a mind shift,
yes,
mindset change, to
yes,
see from a different perspective and so forth. So the book was my starting point to becoming and growing where I am today. So professionally, uh, I would say, taking that course to become a life coach really helped me as well. It helped me
yes.
understand some of the psychology behind emotions and why we struggle and why do we face the same situation over and over again and why can't we get out of it,
Yes.
Yeah. So it really opened up my own perspective of struggles and how we can overcome them. Yeah.
That is such a wonderful message. You can see it in your face that you're just glowing, and I would think that anybody walking up to you would love to have assistance and help from you. You have an absolutely beautiful aura,
Thank
just
you.
gorgeous, very trustworthy too. So,
Thank you.
Athena, what's next for you? Do you have any book ideas, projects? What's happening next for you?
I do want to write another book, but not quite yet. I work full time as well as a co-op student advisor at the local college here. So I am
Gotcha.
helping a lot of students with their career goals. So right now, I don't have the time to write a book, but I do want to, I am planning to write one maybe a few years down the road. But that book will be more about my life as
Okay.
a young child in my country where we were, dealing with civil war. So I just want to kind of open that up and share some of my
Oof.
stories of how we overcame struggles. Yes.
Oh,
So yeah,
a
yeah,
difficult subject, but worthy of exposure.
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
And
Yes.
and worthy to be brought out and to see how the power of God in our hearts has helped so many people. Obviously, you personally.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that is just so absolutely beautiful. Well, I just bought your book, so I'm going to be
Oh,
curling up with that. And I read a few chapters, but I am so excited to get to finish with it. I want to thank you for putting your heart out there with your beautiful words and the book, A Daughter of the King. It has been an absolute pleasure having you as our first guest on this podcast. Your story is a testament to the power of determination and creativity. And for those interested in reading The Daughter of the King, let me know if I have this right. It's available now in paperback on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and you can also get it on Amazon Kindle. Does that sound right?
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Is there
definitely. And
any?
thank you so much for purchasing my book.
Oh, hey, it's my pleasure. Are you kidding? Gosh. Any plans on maybe an audiobook, or we'll see?
Yeah, that is a work in progress. Definitely, I've been thinking about that because more and more people are listening more
Mm,
than reading.
yeah.
And so that might be my next step for this book. Yes, to make it an audible for sure. Yes.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, Mathana. What a pleasure. And I'm just going to talk to our listeners just for a moment. Hang on one sec. And I just want to say thank you to all the listeners out there for tuning into our podcast. This is Empowering Voices. And please remember, if I'll take just a minute, if you'll subscribe and you'll click on the notifications, that way you can stay informed of any of our upcoming podcasts. Um, there's really so much to share with you about book writing venture, this podcast, and all the services that we author. I said author, offer. Let me rephrase. But we do, authors, we offer you. So let's just put that into that. Um, we're just continuing to explore the stories of, authors, entrepreneurs, all kinds of people who are going to be wanting to put their words into books and into presentations. We're truly excited to see how our talented and professional staff can help you new authors who are just looking for that little bit of help. And we want you to find your own empowered voice and share it with the world. So again, I want to say thank you, Mathana. And from Book Writing Venture, thank you for spending this time with us today, you guys. I'm your host, Melissa Guccione. And until next time, remember that we are your partners in success. So keep dreaming big. Cheers. Cheers to you.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you, Melissa.